Thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoyed the previous session with Ahmed and Maj. And now for the very best of the entire conference. No, I mean, yeah, okay, it is. And I'm thrilled to be able to share with you the 2025 sneaks. Today, we'll share stories aligned to challenges faced every day by organizations around the world. We'll see how any organization can benefit from the newest features in Adobe Captivate, Adobe Learning Manager, Adobe Connect. As always, today's sneaks will include some sneak peeks of features which may or may not eventually appear in products. So the legal team likes me to tell you that, just so that you know that I said that it's possible that something you see will not show up in a product, but often, really often, it does. So that's an incredible boost. So the first thing that I want to show you today is actually something that relates to PowerPoint. Who'd have thought it, right? Any of you like to use PowerPoint with your Captivate? Yes? 1, 2, 3. No, is that it? Nobody else? Oh, okay, the truth comes out. Look at the room light up now. All right, excellent. So it's fantastic that you like to use PowerPoint, but PowerPoint hasn't always been the biggest pal for Captivate, right? That we've often had a number of features, but it didn't necessarily make it effortless for you to be able to work with PowerPoint. So I want to start out with a little demonstration of PowerPoint and show you the new way that we're importing PowerPoint. Now, this is a feature that's included in Captivate 13, which we expect will be available to you guys in about a month, okay? So I'm importing this PowerPoint file. It's called Fashion and Style. And Fashion and Style PowerPoint is courtesy of an imaginary company that we've been pretending to work with that sells high-tech AI jewelry. So you'll see us come back to that throughout the session today. I am importing that PowerPoint in real time because I know how you guys love it when I show you that handed in under 7 seconds. Did anybody count it out? Under 7 seconds, significant PowerPoint, lots of images, lots of animations, lots of graphics. Now, what's so different about the way that the all-new Captivate handles PowerPoint import? Notice something peculiar about that timeline? For those of you who are Captivate proficient, you'll notice right away that all of the individual items, the words, the text, the language, the animations, everything came in from PowerPoint as an individual object. How many times in the past of Captivate have you wanted to just double click on a piece of text from a PowerPoint so that you could in fact jump in and edit? Well, you can do that now. You can also rotate that text. You can change the animation. You can adjust it, make any of those changes that you want. Now, all of that is fantastic, and all of that is super cool, but we have so little time that I have to show you something else at the same time. I want to show you another new feature, and this feature is called Generate Avatar, just like that. So I'm bringing in the avatar, but I don't blame you. I agree with the, ooh, that's awesome. So I'm going to choose an avatar for my project. I'm going to come down here. I like this. This guy looks good. I'm going to apply for him and have him enter into my project. Now, one of the things I like is that the engineers have done a great job of giving us options that begin to simulate more modern kind of experiences. So for example, if I want to put a solid fill background behind this guy, I can move him to wherever I want on the stage. Now pause for a second as you hear me say, move him to wherever I like on the stage. I want you to run that over and over through your head with the knowledge you have about the all-new Captivate. Something doesn't quite ring up there. I'll have you come back to that in just a second. So put this avatar into the space, and I'm going to go ahead and just say I want to view that avatar, and then I'll note that here are already text written for this slide. Where did it come from? It came from the PowerPoint notes. They came straight across, and they're into this text already ready to go. Now, I want to actually go ahead and generate that into an AI. So I'm going to click that button. Now, because this is going to make a full motion video AI, it's going to take a minute. So we'll come back to that in just a second. In the meanwhile, I'm going to jump over here to this green slide and challenge us to ask that question. What did Alan mean when he said, notice that I put that anywhere I wanted? I'm going to click here on the text input. For those of you using the all-new Captivate already, you might be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, the only way to add text is to add a block. But Alan just added text without adding a block. How is that possible? Pixel perfect layout in a bespoke environment. You can add any text that you want. You can add any image, etc., and move it to any position on the screen. You can even rotate it to suit your needs, right? How about that? Cool? Very cool, right? So now I'm going to jump out to Notepad because it's very important that we all see Notepad once in a while. And I'm just going to grab this piece of text because I want to plop it into this text element just to show you something particularly interesting. Whatever text you happen to have there is the text that will be read when you choose the AI generate text option. So I can use that, and then I can also go to my text area and choose another. This is just because I'm a very slow typer and you guys wouldn't want to watch me type. And they both say something about fashion and the nature of fashion and society and you and your personal style and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to come back in here now and paste that second text string into the AI generation tool, and boom, just like that, it's going to bring back text suggestions to me. Now, one of the coolest things about the way the team has handled AI and AI augmentation is that it's always up to you. If you don't like the way something's written, write it yourself. If you want to try it again and get a different generation, generate it again. Any adjustments, modifications, etc., can always be modified. And you'll notice there's always an additional piece of text there that allows you to make changes and adjustments and that kind of thing. So I can adjust that, make as many changes as I want, set it up however I want. What do you guys think? That's the text enhancements. Very, very cool. Okay, now before we go on, I have to show you yet another one. Notice the image that came in from the PowerPoint? That's a cool image, but it doesn't scream fashion to me like the other images in the file do. I want something a little more exciting. One of the coolest things is that Adobe Firefly is now integrated, that's right, I said integrated, directly into Captivate. So you can use Adobe Firefly to make the changes that you want. How many of you use Firefly? That's what I thought, a growing number. Firefly is an amazing way to be able to generate images, and having it right there inside of Captivate makes it super easy for you to get high quality images and use them in your projects. And you can use them in your projects without fear because Adobe's policies for AI forbid anything like scraping. They only use images and information for the AI that is actually owned by Adobe and that people are actually compensated for, right? So that means that your company is not necessarily going to come back at you and say, hey, you can't use that because we don't know that there's clear ownership. In fact, all of the Firefly images, all the Captivate stuff, that's all clearly owned and your company is in the clear. Now you'll notice that images come in, and as soon as they do, I can then select one of those images and do an on-the-fly replacement of that image into the space. Now, I think it's about time that we go back and revisit our avatar. Remember, the avatar was on the first page. I'm going to click here on the first page for the avatar, and there we should see, generally there's a little green mark that says that he is all done and baked. I'm going to click View and Verify. Oh, we're at 97%. My apologies, 99%. No, 92%, 93%. So now I have to vamp for you for just a few seconds. That means that I went a little too quickly while it's generating that information. Basically what's happening is that the lip sync for the avatar and the AI audio are all being generated automatically based on that paragraph of text. If you timed me over the last couple of minutes, you know that that took a couple of minutes. That's pretty typical. This is a longer piece of text. I could have put a shorter one in there. I probably should have. Now in retrospect, it's 99% and climbing. And in just a second, there we go. There's the one avatar video has been created. I do want you to notice one really cool thing. Did you notice I did all that other work while it was generating the video? We didn't have to wait for anything, right? We just kept going. So now that it's done, I can easily go in here and click play. And a little audio.
That can transform how we feel from the inside out. When we dress in ways that authentically represent who we are, we're not just wearing clothes, we're wearing confidence. That perfect outfit acts like armor, giving us the courage to walk taller.
Cool. I'll stop it there, but hopefully that was enough. What do you guys think? That's incredible, right? And that would have been the kind of thing you would have had to do $10,000 for special licenses and animations and all of that other kind of stuff. And it still would have been a big hassle and would not have looked anywhere that good. These are amazing. You can move them anywhere. You can size them how you like, make them as big or as small. They're beautiful lip sync. We keep marveling at how amazing the lip sync is. So I know you guys are going to enjoy this functionality. Now, all of those features, the generative AI features, the avatars, etc., are all features and functions that are actually able to be done for you in any Captivate project in the coming version of Captivate 13. So the fact that I was in the Captivate 13 through the PowerPoint is purely coincidental. You can think of all of those features as something that can be done that way. I want to show you one other, and this will remind me why I was off timing on my piece. I'm going to go here to slide 3. And I want to generate a transcript. And this is going to be kind of a funny transcript. Now, I told you that notes come across from the PowerPoint, right? But there, I just generated a transcript for slide 3. Notice how that transcript is funny. It's not like a meeting transcript. It's not in paragraph form. It's like line, 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 line. What does that remind you of? That's right. It reminds you of closed captions and audio samples. And that's exactly where that goes when I hit add transcript. So now I've just sent that transcript automatically into the audio editing solution. And then if I choose to, I can modify all of the audio for the entire slide and generate that audio on the fly and make that audio then sync up and become a part of the overall program and project, right? So I want you to just think for a second, how much time did I just save compared to your average day? That was exciting, right? That's very, very exciting. So that's what's coming up in the all-new Adobe Captivate version 13, just around the corner in about 4 or 5 weeks, something like that. Okay, excellent. With that, let me transition a bit. What do you guys think? I think so too. Yeah, really exciting stuff. It always helps, you know, when you applaud and stuff, because you may not realize that in addition to all the people here in the room who are watching this presentation, there are actually also cameras in the back, and the entire Adobe engineering, product management, et cetera, team who couldn't make it is actually live. Hello, everybody watching us. So when you let them know that you love something, they know that you love something, and it makes all the difference in the world. Okay, cool. So that stuff is cool, right? But let's look at some cooler stuff. I think that's important to do. I want to look next at something which is called how to walk through. This is, I called this, of my own motion yesterday, I called this the most significant advancement in application capture simulation since Captivate itself 20 plus years ago. This is an incredible advancement and innovation, the how to walk through video. And so let's go ahead and play that now, and we'll take a look at what how to walk through is all about. So you can see here, we're launching the how to walk through from the launch screen from Captivate. It gives you a typical prompt. Think combination of screen capture, capturing events, clicks, things like that, the ability to know exactly what's on that screen. But hang on, we've augmented it with AI. So it's actually not just capturing the video in a conventional sense, it's capturing all the clicks, all the events, et cetera, that happen in the space. It's creating highlight boxes, it's dealing with the indicators, and so on. Now, in addition, it also leverages the AI avatars. So you can drop an AI avatar in automatically as a part of the how-to walkthrough. But what has that AI avatar really got to do with it? Well, at the same time it was paying attention to what your demonstration was, it was actually using AI to write a script for you. So instead of you having to go back and script in everything yourself, it's written the script all by itself. And it's not a bad script, it's a really good script. It scripts it properly, it uses the kinds of introductions and transitions that we would use, and it's aware, because of its enhanced vision, of exactly what you did on the screen. So it's able to then guide the user through every step of the entire process. This moves your creation flow for a walkthrough video from something that would take you, okay, admittedly, it takes you real time to capture, but then after that, think of how much time you typically have to take writing up all the scripts, putting in all the notes, all the support, all that stuff. Now it's all happening for you automatically. And you can see here, even zooming is happening all by itself. None of that had to be done by the author. It was all done by the AI based on the motion, based on an understanding of what was the emphasis on the scene, and recording it all and then bringing it out for us live. And the avatar can then read for you whatever that script was. So you don't have to do any of that stuff. It automates the entire process. And you can see how that is a leap forward on par with what happened with the original Captivate. What do you guys think? Now, next up, I would like to talk to you about one of my favorite features. I call this bubble video. And in order for me to show you bubble video, I need to introduce one of our own team's engineers. I'm super thrilled to introduce you to Daman Kaur. Daman is a software engineer with our creation tools group inside of Captivate. And Daman has put together a video for me of this video demo process. So I figured after I saw this, I was like, I cannot do this better than Daman can do it. So ladies and gentlemen, meet Daman Kaur.
On screen, we'll click on the new video demo icon, open up the video demo dialog box, where right away you will see a live screen preview. Now after this, the real magic begins. Let's enable the camera by this camera preview window. Notice the camera bubble that appears. Yup, that's me. Now here's the fun part. With this camera bubble, you're not stuck with a fixed size and a fixed position. In fact, you can resize this camera bubble like this. You can make it small or big or even bigger based on the presence that you want to show. And you can also move it anywhere on your screen by just dragging it. So maybe I want it in this corner of the screen, or maybe up there in the right. Let's hit start recording. Welcome everyone. I'll introduce you to all new Adobe Captivate. Let's watch a short video together.
Every once in a while, a truly path-breaking technology transforms an industry and the world. And now it's time for learning design to get revolutionized. Introducing the all-new Adobe Captivate, making learning design simpler, smarter, and faster.
Now notice that while recording, Captivate is capturing everything that is happening on the screen. So whether I'm scrolling, typing, or moving the windows, everything is getting captured. And because I have enabled both my microphone as well as my system audio, it is recording my voice as well as the video sound at the same time. Now here's one more useful tip. While recording, my camera preview is not stuck in its position. In fact, you can move it around anywhere on the screen while recording as well.
Awesome.
Now this makes it super flexible. You can reposition yourself so that you're not blocking any important content on the screen. Or you can simply move around and keep your viewers engaging. Once you're done with the recording, you can come to this control panel in the menu bar and you can use it to stop or pause recording. For now, I'll stop the recording. Now Captivate has recorded your video and now it is creating a project automatically with the video rendered inside a slide, and it is already embedded in the timeline. So here you go. If you click on the timeline, you can see the slide video already added here. Once you're in Captivate, you can edit the video as you would normally edit a video in Captivate.
Excellent. Awesome, yeah? And didn't Dama do an amazing job of walking us through that? And for those of you, I know there are many of you who are thinking, but Alan, it's bubble. What if my corporation requires it be square, boring, or rectangular video? It does that too. Awesome, right? Excellent. So I'm sure that those of you who are primarily developers, top of mind is feature parity, right? Feature parity between Captivate Classic and the all-new Adobe Captivate. One is just to talk with you about feature parity overall. Now, we've seen that PowerPoint import is coming this month. We've also seen enhanced video. We've seen the how-to walkthrough. One of our frequently requested features from Captivate Classic is published MP4. And so just briefly, we'll take a look at published MP4 and see that that is also on the docket and coming soon. And the published MP4 video, go ahead and roll that. Excellent. I liked this. That is a really cute deck, right? For those of you who don't know, this is a QSP Quick Start project inside of Captivate. Notice desktop, mobile, tablet, 3 different video output forms. It also has very high resolutions, all kinds of different options. That's great. Okay, now, but the most awaited feature for the all-new Captivate is much more powerful. That is migrating your Captivate Classic files. I am thrilled to announce that the open pre-release of migration for Captivate Classic files into the all-new Adobe Captivate is now open and ready for any one of you. You can reach out to the staff in the back room, look for anybody with a red ribbon, or you can email us at captivatehelp@adobe.com. We'll get you into the pre-release and you can start right away translating and migrating your old files, verifying and validating that the workflow is working for you. All right, so you can notice this hat with the smoke. This is very film noir, right? This is a project that I have open, and this project is very interesting because in our imagined scenario, thing happens to us the way that something probably happens to you, right? Imagine that your boss calls you at 5 p.m. on a Friday and says, hey, I love that compliance training that you guys built, but I'm really needing to have it in 12 languages, and I need it by Monday. Fat chance. Anybody ever done a translation solution for an already existing, right? You're talking about a massive amount of work for localization. It's going to be a nightmare. So I want to talk with you next about an alternative way. The boss in our imagined scenario says, we probably need a better solution. And you go, I'm not sure there is a better solution. Introducing a better solution, all right? So let's take a look at this project in particular and how it might be the basis for a slightly better approach. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click on Generative AI. That's a menu that you've seen me click on several times before. And I'm going to just click on Generate Transcript. And you can see I'm generating a transcript, right? And this is the same kind of thing that we did before. I'll go ahead and add that transcript so it gets added to the notes for the file. And then I'm going to go up here to Generative AI, and this time I'm going to choose Generate Translation. And with Generate Translation, you now have the ability to translate your Captivate file into different languages, right? Now that must be really cool, right? We must have like 1 or 2 languages here. So I see it's in English. I can translate it to Spanish or holy cow. Okay, pretty much anything. So given that, I'm going to translate it to Spanish because there might be some hope of me using the correct words with it, right? Now, I choose at that point then to save this file as the same file name, but with a slightly different number, but it'll also append the name of the language that I'm saving it in. I'll go ahead and run the translation. And the translation will all run in real time so that it translates all of the aspects of the file. It translates every piece of text in the file. So it's all now in Spanish across the entire solution, and it's delivered in a way that makes sense to us, and it's going to be useful and give us the possibility to work. Now we'll just check and look at a few of these slides so we can verify. You can see colaborador, gerente, ejecutivo. Anybody speak Spanish? Are we doing okay? I think we're doing pretty dead on, right? And you'll see that all of the slides have been translated, which is phenomenal, right? But wouldn't it be cool if we could take that one step further and also deal with that audio at the same time? So what happens if I go in here to the audio track and I look at this guy, and we look at the closed captions, which are already set up, right? Now we know from before that we can use the AI generated voices, but these are all AI generated voices in English. Let's go in here and instead choose the drop-down menu to select the language, and we'll choose Spanish as the language, and then I'll choose a Spanish speaker, and then with the Spanish speaker selected, oh, I have to do my mountain range. Do you guys do that? You sometimes forget to select the mountains. And then choose Shift Select to get all of them. Make sure you double check to get it checked. And then you simply check Apply, like so. And then you simply say Update Audio, just like so. And it will automatically generate the audio in Spanish with Spanish captions across the entire project. What do you guys think? Very cool. Very cool. Now, the last thing I want to do is be able to publish this project to my learning management system. And of course, the best and only learning management system to consider is Adobe Learning Manager. So I'm going to go ahead and come up here and choose this drop-down menu and choose Publish to Adobe Learning Manager. This is the jewelry company that we've been working with, and I know that Justin and Alistair are waiting for that specific solution to be published. So just like that, click Publish, and it will publish and or update the file. And there we have it. What do you think? Thank you. That was fantastic.
He don't try at all though. No looks at my exes, but he acts like such a man though. Ain't nothing better. I keep him forever. Like a Wednesday time. I see how this is gonna go. Touch me and you'll never be alone. I finally breathe and lights down low. No one has to know. In the middle of the night, in my dreams.
Thank you. Thank you. You've seen him on LinkedIn. You've met him before. The one, the only Adobe Learning Manager evangelist, Justin Seeley, ladies and gentlemen.
Microphone. There we go. Hi, folks. How's it going? So let's start off with a little poll question. Where are my ALM users at? Adobe Learning Manager people. Quite a few. Hi. We should chat. But also, for those of you who don't know, ALM, Adobe Learning Manager, is our learning management platform that helps us educate not just employees, but also customers and partners alike from, a multi-tenancy environment. And so today I'm going to be showing off a lot of the things that are coming or maybe coming to the platform, and also talking a little bit about something that's already been released that's sure to help you out along the way as well. So I'm going to start off, and let's switch to this demo. Here we go. So, as Alan just published that course to Adobe Learning Manager from Captivate, I want to use that as context for this first demo that I'm going to show you here. So as many of you know, oftentimes we create content that is needs to be accessible for multiple audiences. And even though the content might be right for the same audiences, many times the learning experience is not. And Adobe Learning Manager is extensible, of course. It's customizable out of the box. And we also have our headless implementation, which allows for extreme customization. But what if you don't need that much firepower? what if you just need to create a custom menu or a custom page for your customers, your partners, or whomever to hit so that they see that specific experience that you want them to see? Well, that's where our new experience builder comes in, and this allows LMS admins to create custom pages and menus in a very easy, pixel perfect layout type of view like Alan was showing with Captivate as well. So let me walk through that really quickly. So I'm here inside of Adobe Learning Manager right now, and did not mean to hit that button. There we go. Okay. And what you're going to want to do from the admin home screen here is you're going to want to go to the branding section. So this is where we do a lot of our customizations for the learner homepage. Those of you who have used ALM before know that already. I'm going to choose this new thing right here labeled Custom Pages. And you can see that my colleagues and I, we've been in here playing around quite a bit with this. It's a fun tool, so there's a lot of things to look at. I'm going to start with this page right here for Finney's. We're a fictitious financial company, right? So Finney's. And inside of this, we have a custom page that we want our learners to hit that has a few different things on it. So I'm going to go first to the page design. And you're going to notice that when I switch to the page design section that I have this sort of layout here. It looks very similar to the widget layout that you would see inside of the homepage customization. But in this case, you're able to add your own widgets to it. So what I'm going to do is come up to the top here, and I'm going to choose Edit. And if I want to take a look at this page at any time, I can hit the Preview button, and that's going to launch me into this right here. And this is, as you can see, a very custom homepage that we've created. Does not look like ALM out of the box, but it does use a lot of the same widgets and things like that. We just have full control over the layout. So what I want to do is sort of recreate this role section here, just to show you how easy it is to build one of these little sections. So I'm going to close the preview, and we'll scroll down to the end, because I'm going to put this at the bottom. And I'm going to choose, whoops, go down to the bottom, there we go. And we're going to choose a layout. I'm going to select a one-column layout, but you can see here we've got 2 columns. We've got things that are separated into thirds and whatnot, so you can choose any one of those that you want. In this case, though, just 1 column. And once we do that, we're going to choose Add Widget. I actually have an extra one here for some reason, so let's proceed and get rid of that. Let's add the widget. And in this case, I'm going to do categories. So these are categories for specific roles that maybe a customer or a third-party vendor might need to get into. Sales, development, that kind of thing. So we're going to choose categories, hit Proceed, and then we're going to give it a title. So I'll just say, choose your own adventure. Unlike Alan, you're going to have to watch me murder this keyboard up here because I did not copy and paste. All right, so widget description, just choose a role that interests you. And then at the bottom here, I'm going to select catalogs, and I'm just going to say all catalogs, and I'm going to hit Add Widget. And that's going to add that to the bottom. But what if I want to move it around? Very easy. Click and drag to move it up above that particular section at the bottom. So now if I preview this, I can say that I have quickly and easily recreated that little strip right here for our architect, sales, and developer sections. Those are all linked to those pieces in the catalog. I can close my preview. If I'm ready to republish it, I can. And then I can make that page available to any of my learners that I want throughout my entire system. So that is a little preview of our experience builder. So you can create all these new cool custom pages at your leisure. And as you can see, we've created quite a few. So pretty neat, right? The ability to customize those pages. All right, we're going to continue our theme of custom building. We're going to go into a new thing called the certificate builder. So as you know, certifications have been around Adobe Learning Manager for a while, and you've been able to do certifications in most products, right? Very easy, but we now have a tool inside of here that allows you to custom build your own certificates. And not only does it allow you to custom build the certificate, it does it in such a way that it is completely like free range. You're not restrained by grids or anything else. And also you have an integrated AI component that makes it super simple to create artwork. So let's take a look at how to do that. So I'm here inside of Adobe Learning Manager. You're going to start on this tab called Achievements, and then you're going to go to Certificates. Inside of Certificates, we're going to create a brand new certificate. So I'm going to do this live on stage. And you can choose a pre-built one if you want. So let's just choose this one here in the middle. Looks pretty good. Give it a certification name, and we'll just say ALM Security Specialist. That'll make more sense in just a minute. And when I hit create, that's going to automatically build this certificate for me. Now, out of the box, doesn't look that bad, right? Not a bad look at all. But let's say, for example, that I wanted to change a font. No problem. Just pick a font, can change it. Maybe not that one. And then if I want to change back to the other one, I just change it back to that. I can change the bold, all that, colors, whatever I want. And just like Alan was showing in Captivate earlier, you know, I can select this text, I can move it around, I can rotate it, I can do all those things. But what really makes this cool is these dynamic values right up here in this little tab bar. The dynamic values allow you to add things like the learner's name, their email address, their learner ID, the unique identifier. You can also add different badge details like the badge name, all of these different things. You just click on these and put them onto the artboard, and you can position them any way you want, customize them, how they look and everything else. But I think one of the real shining stars of this is going to be the background. So of course, if people use the pre-built background, everybody's certificates are going to look the same. That's going to get real boring real fast. So we've integrated Firefly into this, as well as the ability to add your own. So if you want to design your own in Photoshop or something, you certainly can. But let's say that you're not artistically inclined and you just want to have the system do it for you. That's fine. I do have a prompt pre-built for this one. So let's just grab that real quick. Go back over here, put it in. And basically this is just saying, I want a certificate background, white space, tech icons, red accent. I want it to be minimum and professional. Okay, cool. We're going to hit generate now. Firefly is now going to generate options for me to do this. And once those are finished, I can cycle through each one of them. Oh, every presenter's nightmare. Okay, so now if I go here, I can cycle through each one of these. I don't know, I actually kind of look, what do you guys think? I think the first one looks pretty good, yeah? Not bad. So we can go there, and then I can also preview the certificate from here. That's going to load it up, show me exactly what it's going to look like when it's finished. And then after we take a look at it and vet it, make sure everything looks cool. So, okay, the certificate is proudly presented to. There's the learner's name. There's some text underneath there. There's the issue date. All of that looks okay, cool. Then all I have to do is hit publish and agree. What that is going to do now is make that available. I can now assign that to a specific course or a learning path inside of Learning Manager very quickly, very easily. So as you can see, you can spin up certificates galore in here with this new feature. So hopefully everybody sees the benefit of that and likes that. So what do you think about that one? Good? All right. So now we're going to move on, because everybody's favorite buzzword, we have to talk about AI, right? We absolutely have to. I think it's actually in my employment contract that I have to do that today. So let me move over to here. And we're going to switch away from content generation, and we're going to talk more about content discovery and artificial intelligence. So if you've used Adobe Learning Manager before, you know that earlier this year we launched something called the AI Admin Assistant, which allows LMS admins to go on the back end and ask the system questions. It's very helpful to get up to speed with new features. Also helps you, understand how to complete certain tasks, takes that off your plate. Really remove some of that mundane busy work that you might be bogged down with. So I'm really excited to debut here on stage today our new Learner AI assistant. So something that is learner focused for learners inside of Learning Manager. So here we are inside of a beta account of one of our customers. And what I'm going to do is pretend that I'm a salesperson. And so I'm a salesperson and I am coming to the LMS. I'm not even in a course. Notice I'm just like on a page, right? And maybe we've got a new piece of software or something like that that's come out, and a part of that deals with latency, like network latency, right? So I don't know what that is. They haven't trained me on it yet. So what I'm going to do is just say like, okay, what is latency? Just a very basic question, but it's going to go in and it is going to actually go through all of the content that's inside of Adobe Learning Manager that I have. So that's SCORM files, PDF files, documents, courses, all of these things that I've created, can even go through video transcripts and that kind of thing. And what it's going to do is return back an answer to me that is completely accurate, no hallucination, because it's all trained on that data that I've provided to the system, right? You'll notice that it gives me a pretty succinct answer, but it also includes numerical citations throughout that answer. Those numerical citations are very important because those numerical citations are linked to content. So what you can do is here, it just tells me, latency is the measure of time between an action and result, all that stuff. But if you're interested in it, here's a course about it. And I can enroll in that course, or I can save it to my learning list to access that at a later date. Pretty cool. I can also continue the conversation here by just saying, and it remembers the context, by the way. So I can say, okay, is this only important to gamers? And network latency, big deal for gamers. They want to make sure that they're able to, I'm not a gamer, so what, like fire their weapons and all that stuff at warp speed, I guess. But this is going to explain to me, like, is it only important to gamers? And it will return a result. It's cycling through all of that content that I have on the back end here. And once it generates a response, you're going to see the same type of output again with all of those numerical citations. And again, I can click on that content. I can go to that course page. That course page, then I can enroll in it, save it, etc. But what if I'm not just interested in Q&A? What if I want this thing to help me do something, right? So let me grab another text string here. So remember, I'm a salesperson. We've got a new piece of software that's just come out. I want to understand and be able to explain to a customer the differences between this piece of software and the previous version. So I'm going to say, hey, can you draft an email to a customer with a comparison between DLSS 4 and its prior versions? And that is not only going to go back and give me the answer to my question, what's the difference? It's going to use generative AI to draft that email for me. And then I can just simply take that email and copy and paste it directly into my email application and go from there. So let's see if the response comes back with what we're expecting here. So it's gathering all the stuff, going through all those courses. Remember, it's got to go through all the previous versions of those courses. So if there's a lot of information there, might take a little extra time to get there. Once it gets, oh no, let's try again. If not, we'll move on. So basically, it's going through all of those courses. It's generating a response for us, and then we should be able to just copy and paste that response once it is finished. Here it goes, generating response. Oh, unable to process at this time. Okay, well, we're going to give that a big old thumbs down, and then we're going to move on. All right, but the idea here is that it goes beyond just the idea of Q&A, question answer, pull information from this. We want this to actually help us get things done, and that's exactly what it can do. But our new AI assistants, plural, don't stop there. We're actually revolutionizing how learners can practice what they've learned and how they gauge their knowledge retention through a new immersive AI role play. So let's check out our new AI role play now. So we've already built a scenario here. So what you're seeing, and we need to go back, I think. Nope. Okay, we're good. I can't see the screen, so we're good. Okay, so this is what it looks like from an author's perspective. I'll show you the learner's perspective in just a second, okay? But the content library is where you're gonna see this. Over on the left-hand side, there is a new button called AI Role Play. It's got a little new flag next to it. Once I start to create the AI role play, I give it a title, I give it a simple description, and then I give it an image, a featured image, and then I'm gonna click the next steps. And this is where I'm actually gonna go in and I'm going to choose the type of scenario that I want to create. So I can do a skills assessment, I can do a sales enablement session, or I can do a leadership development session. There's all kinds of templates and things you can choose from in here. So once I choose which one of those that I want, then it's time for me to add resources to this. So resources are things you want this thing to know. So documents, courses, job aids, all those things. Start giving it information about whatever it is you're trying to judge the learning efficacy on for the learner. And so once you do that, Then you're going to go through and you're going to select the resources like I showed you here. And then you're going to set up your AI persona and also edit your conversation opening. So in this case, and I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but it just says, the AI persona background. John is the chief information officer at Quantum, a leading tech company, that kind of, it's a scenario. So you have to come up with kind of, what this is, who this person is that's interviewing you or whatever the case might be. And then also, what is that opening prompt? What does it look like? Then you can go into the topics that you want to cover. You can set advanced settings like time limits. You can also say, if you want to enable screen sharing, allow the AI to just end the role play for you. Like, we're done here, that kind of thing. And then you can also enable the persona subtitles, which I highly recommend turning on, by the way. And then once you're at this section here, you get a chance to review your scenario, and then you can publish it. Once it is published, you are then able to use it in any course that you want inside of Adobe Learning Manager. And so we would need to go, need my screen back, please. There we are. So here we have a course, ALM Security Essentials for Sales. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do a little scenario for you. So I'm going to warn you ahead of time, because I'm not going to complete the whole thing because that would take a minute. I'm going to fail. So the score is going to be bad. No big deal, though. And I have a script that I'm going to follow off my phone because I am not a security expert, but I do play one on TV. So here we go. We're going to start the role play. I'm going to stand back a little bit so my camera can see me a little bit better. And connection detected, always good. Hi, AI. Okay, and then we're going to join with my camera. Maybe tilt this sucker back a little bit so it can see me. Okie dokie.
Hello, Senie. You are about to talk with Oliver.
Hello, I'm Oliver from TechSecure. Before we consider implementing Adobe Learning Manager, I need to assess your platform's security architecture and compliance rigor.
Absolutely,
Let's dig
Oliver.
into your security controls.
Absolutely, Oliver. Let's go for it.
First off, how does Adobe Learning Manager secure sensitive employee and training data? What's your actual approach here?
Absolutely. Adobe Learning Manager secures sensitive customer data through the following approaches. Encryption approaches include password security. Adobe Learning Manager hashes and salts all user passwords before storing them in a database. Data transmission. All client connections to Adobe Learning Manager over the internet are secured using HTTPS and SSL encryption. Protecting data from eavesdropping. I'm trying to make eye contact, by the way, because it judges me on this. And protecting data from eavesdropping, tampering, and message forgery. AWS and IAM integration and access restrictions. Adobe Learning Manager is hosted on Amazon Web Services with an Amazon Virtual Private Cloud. AWS identity and access management is used to restrict access to compute and store instances, ensuring that only authorized application server machines can access the database. Okay, I think that's enough of me trying to figure that out. He's gonna
Right, so encryption and access restrictions sounds good. But what does that actually mean in practice?
Well,
Any specifics on how often these measures are updated or tested?
Well, buddy, we're going to have to take that one offline because I'm out of time. So we're just going to go ahead and end the simulation now. And what this is going to do now is it's going to start analyzing my session. So it's going to rate things like my tone of voice, my eye contact, my knowledge of the subject matter. And it's going to give me a report on all of this information. Now, let's see if it gets me there before I completely run out of time. Well, anyway, while it's doing this analysis, I'll just kind of wrap up with final thoughts here. This is an amazing new way to interact with our system. This is a great way to judge whether people are retaining the information that they are being served inside of Adobe Learning Manager. And it's also a great way for you to implement, soft skills training, management upskilling, all that kind of stuff. Here we go. We have the analysis. So now the analysis is going to come up. Ooh, 39 out of 80. Oh, in the pre-show, I got 45. Okay, that's fine. But here you go. Here's the knowledge. I got 13, not so great there, but here's my style, right? I'm pretty good on clarity, pace, filler words, sentence length. That's because I was reading. But also it judges things like the eye contact. I can play this back here and look at that. I can also come down to the bottom and see a breakdown of what I covered or what I didn't cover, which is extremely cool. And then finally at the bottom, it's going to rate things like my pace, my clarity, my sentence length, filler words, all of that information there for you. So again, I'm running out of time here, but this is a really great example of how you can use new technology to really start closing those skills gap. And I hope that that was a little bit exciting for everybody in the room. So, okay, we are rounding home base, and I know I have to get off stage. So I'm going to jump back into that fictitious jewelry company that Alan showed earlier, and this is where I'm going to leave it off for Alistair. But first, I want to show you a feature that was actually introduced in Adobe Learning Manager this year. It's called the Group Success Dashboard. So who here has ever done a learner transcript in Adobe Learning Manager? Anybody ever dealt with that, the Excel spreadsheet that you had to download? Yeah, that's gone. Don't have to do that anymore. So high five all around, right? But if I want to show you this really quickly here, inside of the Reports tab, we now have a new section called Group Success. And you can create as many dashboards as you need in here for specific paths or also specific groups of people. So I could do all of my direct reports in a dashboard and see how far down the rabbit hole they've gone on a particular compliance course or whatever the case might be. So what this is doing right now is it's actually going through all of the data to surface all of the latest information it has about my dashboard that I've created. So I've got this here. Here are all my learners, and you can see that they've either completed or they're pending or they're not even enrolled. So everybody's kind of in process here. If I go to the learner transcript, this is the deeper dive where I can see a learner by learner breakdown of where all of these people are inside of that learning journey. Now, I assigned all of this to my colleagues. Not all of them have started it. In fact, I'm the only one who has. So we're going to dive into my progress. Everybody else is slacking. So once this loads up, you're going to see a list of everybody that's been assigned this course, and then my name will be there, and you will see here that I'm actually in progress. And if I drill down even deeper, that's going to show you exactly where I am in every facet of that learning path that I have created. So again, this is just a new way to showcase where your learners are, get a bird's eye view for your compliance and things like that. It's great for people who have to deal with franchisee training, partner training, that kind of thing for compliance purposes and all that good stuff. So that is the Group Success Dashboard. It's live. It's in there right now. So please go try that out. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for our look at what's new and what's next inside of Adobe Learning Manager. So thank you all very much. And I want to also make sure that I hit my verbal cue for Dwidge in the back. And so I just want to reiterate, each of these features represents our commitment to making learning more personalized, more engaging, and more effective for everybody in your organization. And ALM continues to evolve to meet the real world needs of learning professionals just like you. So thanks, everybody.
Coming down, but it's you who have further to fall. Ghost town, haunted love. Raise your voice, sticks and stones will break my bones. Talking loud, not saying much. I'm bulletproof, nothing to lose. Far away, ricochet. You take your aim, far away, shoot it down, back on the phone. Are you got
It's fine.
All right, good morning. I know most of you have to pee right now, so I'm going to try to make up some time as we go through today's session. If we could have my monitor up on the screen, that's fantastic. So I'm starting off here in Adobe's learning management platform, where Justin left us just a few minutes ago. And we've got a virtual classroom already set up in Adobe Learning Manager. I can take a look at this. I'm going to click on the virtual classroom URL, and Adobe Learning Manager is going to authenticate me directly into this virtual classroom. Now, this is a persistent room. I was able to set this up weeks ago. Everything that I designed persists, and so when I come into this room, I'll have all of my content ready to go. And here we go. The conference Wi-Fi gives me lots of time to think about what I want to say as we join the room here. And if you're familiar with Adobe Connect, you might notice it looks a little different. We've completely redesigned this menu bar. We've updated the icons. We've added labels. We've made it easier to screen share. You can simply click this share button here to start a screen share. But there are 3 new icons over here on the right-hand side to help new hosts out, to help them get things done. So I can search for things if I want to figure out how to change my camera settings. I can just start typing the word camera. And maybe if I want to change my video aspect ratio, it'll take me directly to that area in Adobe Connect where I can do that. Even better, we've added a brand new Learn Hub filled with different videos that are nice and short, that appear only for the person who clicked them, to help them get acquainted with Adobe Connect. And finally, in addition to these, I need to mention AI as well. We've got a brand new AI help assistant where you can just use plain language to ask something like, how do I record? And it will return not just text to help you understand what to do, but individual steps. That text will be structured with all of the steps that you need to follow. It's got screenshots so you can follow along and make sure you're doing the right thing. And it's even contextual. I can follow it up with, how do I access the recordings, or how do I access this? And it knows what I'm talking about. So we're doing a lot to try to make this easier for brand new users to Adobe Connect. But the reality is the menu bar is really just the start of what is a complete redesign for Adobe Connect. And I'm excited to show you a sneak peek into what the team has been working on in terms of the new interface for Adobe Connect. And I've got that right here. So this is a redesigned room. It's the same room that we were just looking at, redesigned with brand new pods. We've gone beyond just the menu bar. And these new pods are literally lighter. You can see there's a transparency effect until I hover over a pod and make it active. We've got a redesigned layouts panel. I think it looks great. It looks more modern. There's new iconography on all of the different pods that we're using. The transparency effect that goes away when you put something into focus really helps you focus your learner's attention on whatever you're speaking about. So I love the brand new interface. The customers that we've shown it to have also seemed to love it. And I can see here, I'm getting a chat message from Peter. He mentioned me by name, and so it's given me a notification. I can reply to Peter now in line. What does it say? The new UI looks great. I'll just say, thanks, Peter. I'll just say thanks, because we're running short on time. And now Peter's original message is followed up as part of that reply. It's got inline responses right inside of the chatbot, for example. So let's go ahead. We want to customize this room even further. I think we've got a good start here with a lobby, an introduction. Adobe Connect still works the same way with pods that I can design and layouts to create these incredible experiences. The next thing that I want to do after my video is add a custom pod for adding some more interaction into Adobe Connect. So let me go to a new layout here, and I'll go to the pods menu. And custom pods aren't new to Adobe Connect, but you used to have to sideload them. You'd have to figure out where you could find one, download it to your file system, figure out how to bring it in the Adobe Connect platform. Now, right from the pods menu, I've got the ability to bring up an entire custom pod marketplace. Now, this is looking a little meager right now. I'm using a QE machine, so I've only got 3. Let's go back to that live session. And if I click Custom Pod and New Custom Pod, I've got a full library of apps and utilities and games. These all extend the functionality of Adobe Connect. They enable me to add more engagement, more interaction into all of my virtual classroom settings. And if I just want to add something like, let's say a Wordle clone here. We've got one called Connect Wordle. I can just start typing the first few letters, click the plus button and say add to room. And it just adds that to my room. It's so much easier to use than having to find those custom pods and load them in manually. But what are we going to do about this room here? I've only got the 3 pods. Connect Wordle is not one of them. Unfortunately, I can't play Wordle. But it's 2025. We can just vibe code this, right? So I've got Claude opened here in a separate tab, and I've already pre-built this. I've asked it for a gorgeous 15-minute timer that I can use for a break. I said the colors should be silver and black with a pop of red. Add everything to a single HTML file and have the timer start automatically. And this is what it created. I think it looks incredible. I think it looks fantastic. I'm going to download this just by choosing download as HTML. I'll save that to my desktop. There we go. And over here in my application, we're not to the point yet where I can simply drag and drop that HTML directly into the Adobe Connect room. So let's go to my desktop here, find that app. There's what I just downloaded from Claude. That's not supported just yet, but we've recently made available a brand new resource that you can find here on our user community called Podify that lets you take those web applications that you vibe coded and just choose the directory that you've put them in. I'll select that directory, give it the right permissions, give it a name. We'll just call this one break timer. Give it an app ID, com.adobe.breaktimer, for example. I'm going to give Adobe credit for this, even though it's really Claude that created this. I'll hit generate manifest, and this is what Adobe Connect needs to read in that file. It's going to create the pod for me. I'll hit save. And now we'll go back to the room. And there's that pod. Oh, where did I create the pod? Let's go back to Podify here. And create the pod package. So I will now drag that pod into my room. And boom. We just created a custom pod in, I mean, what, 2 minutes? That's really, really easy now to add interactions into Adobe Connect that are specifically customized for your learning objectives. You can make this look however you want it to look. Okay, so we've got our break timer set. The last thing I want to do in this room is finish up the wrap-up layout that I've got. If I take a look at my old room, the wrap-up layout's already set up. I've got a files pod, I've got a web links pod. I want to share resources with the people that were there. I've got some poll pods here as well. If I go back to my new room, instead of files and web links, which are 2 separate pods, we've combined those into a single pod in the, or we're looking at combining those into a single pod, just called the resources pod. And I can bring that up. It's going to give me all of my resources, including files, including web links. I can just click this and add a new resource. There's actually a file I want to add to this that I don't think I've got on my computer, but that's okay, because I'm pretty sure I used it in a previous session. And so I'm going to go to my recent recordings, and I could view this by clicking on the play button. I'm going to choose to edit it, though. Here we go, edit recording. And that's going to open up my recording using a brand new recording viewer that gives me the transcript.
Welcome, everybody, to the reseller.
We don't need to hear me talking over myself here. So I've got the full transcript here from the original session, but now in this new recording player, I've also got access to all of the resources that were used during that original session. So your recordings now become interactive. Any of the resources, any of the web links, they all become live. I can click on a web link here, and it takes me directly to that web page. I can download the individual files, or I can download them all here by clicking the download all button. So I'll grab this video that I need to add to my other session. I'll save that to my desktop as well. And that will make it easy to add to this room here. I'll just hit add file, browse my computer. There we go. And again, if I want to rearrange these, that's new, something we couldn't do before. I can simply drag and drop the order of the resources. Finally, we've got those poll questions that we had in the previous room. The problem with this is I only had room for 3 questions. You quickly run out of space when you need to add a new pod for every question that you want to ask. And so one of the things the team has been working on is a brand new pod for Adobe Connect called the Survey Pod. And now, rather than having to fit multiple poll questions on the same layout, you can create a survey that has up to 10 different questions, multiple choice, multiple answer, short answer questions. I can launch this for my viewers. Before I do that, though, I'm going to hit edit, because you can see I can also give it a description. I can tell Adobe Connect whether this should be an anonymous poll where we're not capturing names, or whether we do want names associated with it. The learner is always going to be made aware of whether the survey is anonymous or not. We can add a message for after the survey has been submitted. And once I'm finished, I can launch it for everybody in the room and see their feedback. I can see their progress through the survey. And once they finish filling out the survey, I'll see that happen here. When I want to close it for responses, all of my learners will get a 10-second timer letting them know that the survey is about to close. So I'm going to close for responses now just to bring up that timer. So I've set my virtual classroom up. I'm happy with how that looks now using this brand new interface. The next thing I want to do, and the last thing I want to do, is set up an event for my launch, my customer webinar. And so I'm going to go back to my other server here. And because this is a big rollout and I want to roll it out across different time zones, I'm going to take advantage of a brand new feature that we've just added to Adobe Connect called Simulated Live, where instead of delivering this content live each time, I can pre-record my content and still have a live event where I'm inviting people for a specific date and time, where I'm still able to interact with them, still able to answer questions, still able to use poll pods and chat pods, but the content itself can be completely pre-recorded. So I know the demo is going to go perfectly. And I also don't necessarily need my presenter to attend all of these sessions because they've pre-recorded the content. So let me just dismiss this here. I've set some of this up already. I've got what looks like 3 different layouts in this room, but these are very special layouts because it's a simulated live room. I've got a lobby layout. This is where people are going to come before my simulated live session begins. And when the session is scheduled to begin, this is automatically going to start. If I wanted to give it an extra minute or 2 for people to come into the room, I can set it for, let's say, 2 minutes after the scheduled start time. Whether I'm here or not, this session is going to start 2 minutes after the scheduled start time. So the participants will automatically be moved to the playback layout. It's going to play through the entire video, and then we'll all be moved back to the outro layout after the video, the pre-recorded video content has been played. And here again, I can have interaction. I can have polls and resources, Q&A and chat. And the playback by default has this little placeholder video, but I can change the video here. And I'll quickly try to find a simulated live product launch. Hit OK. We'll bring that in. We'll have to excuse the Wi-Fi here as we wait for this to upload. But this doesn't have to be just a sit back and watch type of experience. That's certainly not what Adobe Connect is all about. We're all about interaction and engagement. And I can still incorporate that into my simulated live content. I can move this video around. If I want to add Q&A, I'll add a Q&A pod. I can move it wherever I'd like. If I want to add some chat, I can add a chat pod. I'll just very quickly here add a couple of pods. And the way that this pre-recorded video is set up is that the video is doing some kind of introductions. As you saw today, that's typically how we roll in terms of events, right? We start with some introductions, maybe some housekeeping. In fact, let's go and add that housekeeping pod. There we go, the housekeeping pod. Great for letting people know the session's being recorded, because that's a question you're gonna get if you don't tell people up front. But I've got now a layout that I can use for my intro. And that intro lasts for about 2 minutes. And so I can kind of scrub 2 minutes into the video here and say, okay, after that, we want to split it out and we're going to do a poll. And so we can get rid of the housekeeping pod and make the focus, we'll hide the pod here, make the focus be the poll. So I'll make the video a little smaller. Bear with me as I learn to use the trackpad for the first time on this Mac. I'll add a new poll pod. And the video discusses the poll for a couple more minutes. And at about 7 minutes, it goes into a presentation. And so again, I can scrub into about 7 minutes here and split the layout again. And if I didn't get that timing right, I can just click on it and say, you know what, this is actually at 7 minutes and 0 seconds that we go to the presentation layout. There we go. And for the presentation layout, I want the focus to be the presentation. So I'm going to make this video big. And then shortly thereafter, I get into the demonstration. So we'll just scrub through until I hit the demo. There we go. And split the layout again. So we're continuing to add interaction. We're continuing to add multiple layouts. And this looks much more like an Adobe Connect experience, which incorporates those layouts, which incorporates your design and that interaction. But all of this just plays automatically on a timeline where you don't even have to be there. I mean, obviously, it's good to have your subject matter experts in the room to monitor Q&A, to respond to questions, to monitor chat, to ensure that everything's going smoothly. But this will just automatically play back based on the timeline that we've just set. And if I want to preview it, I've got the ability to start the playback and preview what this is going to look like automatically. But now I can roll this event out. I can scale it across multiple time zones. I can run it as many times as I'd like because my content is all pre-recorded and ready to go. So that is the new simulated live feature in Adobe Connect. And that's my time. So I'm going to hand it back to Alan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alistair. Well, did I lie? Amazing, amazing new features coming for Adobe Captivate, Adobe Learning Manager, and Adobe Connect. And I bet you're not surprised to hear me tell you that we are behind schedule as usual. So the sessions are starting now. I encourage you to go there. Don't forget, if you want to be a part of the drawing, you should be back here at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Yes. Thanks, everybody.